Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey everyone, it's John C. Morley, and welcome once again to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Marcus, it's great to be here. Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, John. It's great to have you. Great to be a part of what's
so ecstatic. You and I talked about this moment when we started a while back and we started this new cast. And I am so happy to be here on JMOR's second birthday party. For those of you that don't know, we're here live at the Oakland Public Library in Oakland, New Jersey. We did sing happy birthday off camera, and we did actually have some candles. We blew the candles out. We'll put that into the feed later on, but we can't bring the food into the studio here. They have rules that we can't bring the food into the same room. So really great. We have some promos we'll show you later on, but just really great to be here and just excited to celebrate our second year and looking forward to a lot more than just the third year, Marcus.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a blast.
It's been a blast. And, you know, when we think about technology, the first thing I want to say to you is, how did we get started? So, you know, JMOR Tech Talk was around for, about maybe 15 years. And Marcus knows the story. And what happened was we actually grew from Blog Talk Radio. When we grew from Blog Talk Radio, we were doing really well. And then I wanted to go national. So we got on a national radio program, and then we did really well on Marcus. This is before I met Marcus. We actually had an ad come in with a very high number, but I didn't get one penny of it. Turns out that the person that called in, if you remember, Marcus, they didn't buy advertising. They bought me out.
Yeah.
And that was really below the belt, if I have to say. But, you know, I'm happy that happened, and you and I know that the reason things happen in life is to help us become better versions of ourselves. And I met Marcus a few years ago, and he's like, why don't we do the show? And I'm like, I don't know. And we had one or two shows, and it was like, oh, come on, John, let's do another show. And then I think it was history after that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The rest was history.
So that's how JMOR got started. But, you know, why are we different than a lot of other shows? I think that's what people want to know. So we interview celebrities like, you name it, the first man to ever talk and invent the cell phone, which is Mr. Martin Cooper. We have celebrities come on, and we have local business owners come on. But, you know, we really just try to give the facts and the news, don't we, Marcus?
Yeah, straight shooters.
We try to stay away from the politics, but, you know, we don't let people hide. Like, for example, I was saying to you, my next car I wanted to be the Tesla, but I told you, got my deposit back a while back because I just don't have this good feeling about sitting in a car and getting death rays of fire coming at me while I'm sitting trying to enjoy my car.
Right.
So when that happened, if that's not bad, and if I could deal with it, I would tell you the biggest thing is that you can't open your door because you got to smash it to get out or you're not going to be alive. I couldn't fathom that. So I'm sorry, Elon, but I have to say no thank you to your car.
Yeah, totally.
So we give you the truth about what's going on. And, you know, we're hoping to, as Marcus knows, we're hoping to become more live in person. We're going to probably do some more lives in person instead of just the virtual. And we're hoping by next year to have our own studio and to be broadcasting live right here in Wyckoff or Franklin Lakes, because that's what's different about us. We want to bring you live, good quality talent. That it's not about sales, right, Marcus? We're all about that value.
Absolutely. Value is so important.
Those people come on the show. We just sometimes tell them, look, sorry, we had to go to a commercial because, sorry. But we get some good people. Incidentally, we have a good gentleman coming up, fintech, coming up on Friday, which is our first show of July, Marcus. Can you believe that?
It went so fast.
I know, and it's blazing hot out here. It's like 85 degrees, but I got to tell you, if you guys are in the Franklin Lakes, Oakland, Wyckoff area, come on down, have some snacks, meet us, and take a load off and actually chill out a little bit. It's nice and cool in here, isn't it? Well, you're not sitting in the same spot. I'm sure it's cool by you too, Marcus, right?
Yeah, it's cool inside right where I'm at right now.
It's about 89 degrees outside, and there were a lot of things that had to go on. As you've been following through the channels, we also launched, one of the divisions launched John C. Morley, Serial Entrepreneur, and we've been doing special days of the week. Tomorrow, I can't let the cat out of the bag, but I'll tell you something. We ordered a half a sheet cake from Dairy Queen. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing with it. You're going to have to watch, but we're going to do something really special. It's going to say thank you very much to a certain group of folks. And we're going to say thank you for helping us celebrate National Ice Cream Day, Cake Day. I think they're going to be very surprised, Marcus. I'll share with you later who that is, but I don't want to let our audience or our guests know. I think they're going to be very surprised when I show up at their door with this large cake.
That's going to be a huge surprise. I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
And I'm wondering if I shouldn't tag them because, I don't want to tag them while I'm at Dairy Queen because I'm like, it may not be a surprise if I do that. So I'll probably just say, hey, we're getting ready. But I also want to thank the great, wonderful people, Donna, Mary, and all the wonderful people at BJ's for taking the logo that one of our brother companies had. And you saw the cake design. What did you think of the cake, Marcus?
It was amazing, truly amazing. I was breathtaking by it, so like, what a congratulations that you got with the cake.
Thank you. So our show is, we do things a little differently, don't we, Marcus?
Yeah, it's truly unorthodox and out the norm, out of the box.
And I think that's very important. So let's get into the show. So again, thank you very much. We had a great start, and hopefully we'll have another good 100 years. I'm really excited about it and people coming together. And then we also have our STEM program we're working on. So there's so many great things. But let's get into the show because we have a lot of good things to talk about. Plus, we have a gentleman from the EMT in Franklin Lakes coming, a friend of mine who'll be on camera with us live. And for those who are here, we're giving out free mugs, which on the mug, it actually says, thanks for helping me celebrate JMOR's second birthday. So we have those for the people that RSVP'd and they came today. So let's get right into our topic. So the first thing I want to talk about is this Vegas company, Marcus. They promised fast internet in this rural area, and they're still waiting.
You know what it was, John? They saw the dollars that they could get from it, and and they oversold. They oversold a false promise.
And it's just terrible that that's happening. More and more people. I don't begrudge anybody for making money, but I think you got to under promise. We always say it, and over deliver.
Yeah.
And they're still waiting. It's kind of like that Energizer bunny, still going and going and going. But this is not a good going. This is a bad going because they rip these people up for millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. They're getting ready to file a lawsuit there, Marcus.
Lawsuit is coming very fast, and they can forget about any federal money.
$1,000 one.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
People think just because it's the rural area that they could do whatever the heck they want because they're in the middle of nowhere. But that's no way to treat people. And they do this with seniors too every day. They treat them badly, really badly. So like I said, we have Nicholas Romanello. He'll be coming on the show a little bit later today. I want to talk to you about something pretty interesting. You ever known somebody who maybe couldn't use their arm or their leg? Have you ever known some, Marcus? They maybe couldn't walk or couldn't use their hand properly?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very sad. But, I always say, Marcus, we got to be grateful for what we have. If we have a health ailment, we got to be grateful of the fact that we're alive, that we're healthy enough, that we're able to maybe walk, that we're able to at least breathe, that we're able to speak. Some people can't speak with their mouth. They got to use a stick or they got to use a computer. And now they're starting to come up. This company is coming up with things that people can do. They're putting chips. Now, this sounds a little bit far-fetched, Marcus, but it's here. They're making the bionic man or woman. They're literally putting chips in the body because, as we know, the body is all electronical and really electric. It has signals in it. And so we actually can bridge between the signals between our neurons, actually, there's a synaptic via going between each one, and that's what transmits the message. But when we break that pulse, it goes into a chemical reaction, and then the
Right.
chemical reaction takes that little break, and then it goes back into something which is the electrical charge. So our body's
Exactly.
pretty impressive. And so what these researchers have found the way to do is people that can't feel, they can't touch, they're coming up with ways with chips to not only be able to help them move their fingers. That's old hat, Marcus.
Yeah.
We're coming up with ways they can sense, that they can literally deliver that feeling of touch back to the body.
Mm.
Isn't that amazing?
That's truly amazing.
I mean, when I touch something, you touch something, it goes up my nerves and goes down to my spinal column and the dorsal of my spine. And that's how I get the sensation. But people that are injured, car accidents, now they're going to have a second chance because now that part that was damaged, they can put something in between, some type of electromechanical device, and it's going to be able to relay the signal. Kind of like if you think of a wire, if the wire was broken, right? Can't turn the light on. But if we fix the wire, then the light will work again, won't it?
Yeah, the whole entire light fixture.
I mean, we do that with traffic all the time, but now we're going to be able to do that with our own bodies. I mean, I think that is just, I think that's absolutely, absolutely amazing. We have Tristan Lowe coming up this Friday on the JMOR Tech Talk Show. So we're talking about fintech. Fintech's getting pretty popular now, isn't it, Marcus?
Yeah, it is. I hear a lot about it.
It's not just about ATMs anymore, or things that are going to make people money in the sector of, let's say, stocks and bonds. It's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
It's things that are happening with your iPhone and how you're paying for things. Financial tech, I mean, it's now getting to the point where I know we're doing this. We went completely checkless. And I mentioned we don't write checks anymore. So that means people have to take payment electronically. And we have to deal with vendors that can take payment electronically. And I think some of the world, Marcus, isn't ready for this.
No, they're not. You still got some companies that still sending out paper checks and they're getting lost or getting stolen. And
let's do the math for a second. If we were to think a moment for, let's just say, a typical world. And if you think about, I don't know, maybe most companies will, I'm going to guess they maybe mail about maybe 100 checks, maybe 200 checks a week.
Yeah.
So if you do that, and with the new postage increase, Marcus, that's going to be $116 a week. That means that's $4 a month. But if you use like an ACH system, okay, you're getting that down to $1.50 a week. And then you multiply that times 4. You're now at $6.
See, most people don't think that way, and they think in terms of like, doing things that feels good and feels like the traditional norm.
I think it's not just happening in, like I said, the financial world. It's happening in the medical world too.
Yeah.
With the 911 and lots of things about that. So I think we've just got to be very cognizant. I mean, I was in an event the other night, without giving all the details, where we were using a certain technique to find out if people were actually on a wanted list. A very high technology way. I can't get into the specifics of it, but we were able to tell whether somebody was wanted and make sure they didn't cause a problem to the event. The event was close to 500 to 1,000 people. So I think it's pretty amazing what's happening. But fintech is not just about processing money. It's not just about how you pay for things. It's really going to shape our whole environment, even things with weight loss and stuff like that. Well, my next guest, as I mentioned to you, I'll be on shortly, is from the Franklin Lakes Volunteer Ambulance Corps. He also serves on another corps as well. And he gives a lot of time and talent to not only Franklin Lakes, but to many other towns that he serves on. And, it's not easy being an EMT and to handle people and to do what you have to do and to be able to, live your life like I say, Marcus, you got to have that dichotomy. I want to tell you that it's interesting, but, a lot of people, I just don't have the stomach for it. Please help me welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show, Mr. Nicholas Romanello. right here for the Franklin Lakes EMT department. Hello there. How are you?
How are you?
So we have you live here. So we're trying to get live now. This is the whole thing. We're trying to get away from those virtual. A little different than being on being.
Yeah, it feels a little funny for sure, but you know.
So tell me, I know last time we talked a lot about COVID. That's kind of in the remission, I'll say. What's new in tech with EMT? What can you share with us? What's new?
I mean, not much has really changed in regards to how we operate in general.
Mhm.
I mean, this mainly it's really just been more protocols, how to approach different calls,
Okay.
how to approach COVID positive patients and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
But it's largely stayed, I would say, kind of the same in regards from how we've operated, but not in the sense that, you know, how do I say it? But it's not the same in the sense like how we do the calls the same way, but it's slightly changed with the fact that we have to wear masks on every call. We have to kind of gown up sometimes.
Do you think that's ever going to go away, or do you think we're going to be like this for a while?
Probably for a while. I mean, from
Okay.
what I've noticed in the field is a lot of folks testing positive now are not as sick, which doesn't necessitate always having to transport them to the hospital.
Well, that's better.
So that is better from what I've been told from one of our medical directors. Most people who have tested positive have either been infected before or
Okay.
have been vaccinated. So we have some sort of herd immunity going on.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is technology in all fields. What technology are you allowed to talk about with us? What can you share with us? What technology is in the field that you're allowed to share with us?
Well, we could use cell phones. We have something
Okay.
called a triage, actually, that we use. It's sort of like a chat form, if you will, where we connect directly to the hospital and we're able to kind of chat with a triage nurse or a doctor,
Oh, wow.
depending on the severity of the emergency.
Now, is that is that in the paramedic kind of field? Because it's not paramedic. You're doing.
Right.
Let's explain to the folks at home. So you're in BLS, basic life support, right? And then there's another level which is paramedic.
Right.
So what's the difference in training between a BLS? For some people at home don't know. When you dial 911 and your county routes the call, like here to Franklin Lakes, to the police department, or if you're in Oakland or other places, it dials. Something else has happened in the last 5 years. If I dial 911 right now and I hang up because they didn't answer, they're busy, my phone's going to lock out and it's going to dial me back. It's reverse 911, which is pretty cool.
Right, exactly. Dispatch has the ability to see your phone number, and it's not instant, but they're able to even kind of get a good geolocation of where your phone is based on where you're dialing in from using a method called pinging.
Right.
So that's how they get your location, but your phone also, your number shows up in sort of a caller ID as well on their end that allows them to call you back.
I think that's great because a lot of times, let's say it was a catastrophic situation. Maybe it was it could have been somebody who broke in, could have been a very hostile person, and I might have just had time to dial 911, but then he caught me or she caught me, and I don't want to be caught on the phone, so I quick hang up and I do this, and what's the matter? I knew it, and they don't realize that I called for help, and so that's an important thing I want to stress to people at home, wherever you are in the country. I believe E911 is everywhere now. So if you at least just get to the phone and you press 911, you're going to be able to alert somebody. And if they quick come, hit end, and then just throw the phone on the floor, it doesn't matter. They've already got you. He's dead already. I mean, they've already nailed you. So you just need those few seconds to be able to save your life, right? I mean, those few extra seconds could be the difference of whether you're living or dying.
Right. Another thing that's also beneficial is that we've also been informed that you can also text as well.
Yes.
If you can't call.
Okay.
For instance, if you're in a sort of a situation like that, we'll say, like if someone broke into your home and you're hiding, you have the ability to text them.
So that's a good thing. So how would you text? You just text 911. What do you text?
Text 911.
So you just text them. I bet that's something a lot of people didn't know. Marcus, did you know about that?
No, I didn't.
Pretty interesting, right? The fact
that is very interesting.
Now that we're live, I normally couldn't bring you into the chat when we were not live. But now I can. So there's a lot of new growth in going live, isn't there?
It is, and I think these things are going to be very beneficial. And this live platform is just amazing.
Well, one of the things we're doing now, Mark, and just Marcus, and he knows already. I've known him for a while, but a lot of people that want to come on the show, I'm like, I don't have room for you for at least 3 or 4 months. However, if you want to come on a live show, I probably can get you in a few weeks. Oh, so I think that's going to bring a different dichotomy to us, isn't it, Marcus?
Yeah, it's going to change the game totally, and
So like you said, so
rotate
people
people
can
more.
text just 911 saying I need help or whatever, or my tire's out or whatever. And then they have your geo information, you're able to do things. So the trio, that's a neat little thing. So we were talking about the difference between a BLS, and then we kind of got off on a tangent. And then we have which is the the second level. Yeah, the paramedic. So what is the difference in training between BLS? Most people know you got to go for training for BLS, but what's the difference when you go from BLS to less than paramedic? What's the difference in training?
Well, the difference is a little more vast in the sense
Okay.
that most folks that go down the ALS route also have college education.
Advanced life support. So
Correct.
BLS,
That's what it stands
ALS
for.
is the technical word.
Exactly.
Acronym. They love and medical loves acronyms, don't they?
Acronyms make it easier. What can I say? But
Okay.
usually an associate's degree is
Okay.
as far as, at least in New Jersey for the
Okay.
most part, is what most people get to become a paramedic.
Okay.
Paramedics can do a wider scope of, has a wider set of skill sets and knowledge base than an EMT. They can intubate, they can start IV lines. What else? They can even administer certain higher level of medications. See, on the BLS level, we can only administer for, let's say, like a heart attack,
Okay.
aspirin, or
And also only being able to do things like, well, CPR, but everyone can be trained to do CPR, which by the way is an interesting segue here. If you're not CPR trained, you don't have to go and get the one that you use your EMTs, but you can go get the basic one. And being able AED trained, because I've got a lot of people that see AEDs. I know like my friends on the golf course, they see them, but they're not going to touch the AED. Like my person, like if they weren't trained, and I know myself when I got trained, even though I was knowledgeable, I probably wouldn't have gone and tried it, even though I'm intelligent. And I just don't feel that I wanted to mess with that because you got somebody's life and it's like the position where they go. And it's not hard, ladies and gentlemen, but it's practice. And the way the American Heart Association teaches it, which I think is phenomenal. By the way, kudos to the American Heart Association if you're watching us. They teach it by route. And I also like to say they do something else. They teach it by route, but you don't learn by route. They teach it by immersion. What the heck is that? Well, that's how you learned your language. That's how you learned English. That's how you learned Spanish, French. So they teach medical by immersing you in the technology and doing it with you and creating those situations. Like when we were doing a simple drill. Well, don't forget to shake the victim. Is the situation safe before you touch them? So they had you living that. I think that's very helpful when they do those drills, right?
Exactly. What they basically do is kind of run you through what's called a case scenario.
Yes.
So they kind of simulate a whole actual event going on. So it kind of gets you kind of attuned to it and kind of works out any nerves and everything. Kind of builds muscle memory, because a lot of things about emergencies, it's more about muscle memory and how to go about a certain call, and you memorize it better in your head that way.
Right. So most people don't know this. I also have a background in hypnosis and NLP, and we have something called an engram. So what happens is when you're unconscious, and if you're like you're everything that you're seeing right now, it may not go unconsciously, it goes subconsciously, but it's actually going to hurt you more because it gets stored here. So now let's next time I see an ambulance and I freak out, like, oh my gosh, I get sweat. And the reason I'm getting sweat isn't because of today. It's because of the fact that my friend was rushed to a hospital 20 years ago and he nearly died. Now I'm making this up, but I associated something when, let's say, I might have been unconscious, even though I was okay. And so a lot of times your programming, not to get into this today, but the reason you're running your life this way, the reason you're doing something this way isn't because you're not smart or anything like that. It's because there's something stored here in this program behind. And so when you're in conscious mode, it's not as easy to link. You have to do things a little differently. But when you're unconscious, like you remember things like a sieve, like you can go back and say, well, who did it? What was the color? What was the description? But when I just ask you, it might not come out right away. That's why police a lot of times go to them and say, hey, he's unconscious. Let's see if we can wait. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe we can talk to him and things like that. So I think when we think about EMT, when we think about technology, there's always a fear with EMT. I think people has that, it causes that adrenaline to like really.
A lot of people tend to kind of get pushed back a little bit because they don't know how to respond to the scenes. Sometimes they feel it would be an overwhelming experience, and for a lot of calls, in many cases, it can be because there's a lot going on. There's a lot hitting you all at once.
So what's the magic? Would you say? I'm sure people are going to ask this. Mark, some of you want to know this too. How do you detach yourself, right, Marcus?
Yeah, that's a very interesting one. I would love to learn that one.
To be honest with you, there really is no magic way, to be honest with you, to do it. One of the things of, at least as a starting EMT, it was practice really. It was getting more immersed in the actual field and going through different scenarios, maybe even training in some cases. But a lot of times what helped me was taking a lot of calls, at least in my field, like just being immersed in it in some way or form. Don't always have to really be in the action, but you have to have something that kind of simulates, something close to it to kind of give you some sort of a feel for it and kind of prepare you for it. Because it's difficult to get people mentally prepared sometimes for some of these kinds of emergencies. And the only way to do it sometimes for some folks is to kind of just be there. But, a lot of times what also helps is sufficient training, which is another thing that's hard to come by. But getting something in there to kind of get your mind in that kind of mind frame is very important as well, and has been largely beneficial for me and many, many other people's too. Excuse me, a lot of other people too. So it helps a lot to have that, to get in the mindset some way.
So it's not just a mental mindset, which a lot of people forget. It's the physical mindset, which you have to have too. So you got to be in good condition, good shape, but you got to have the mental mindset. And I want you to try something with me. Try it with me, like Marcus tries with me. So I'm sure we've all had challenges. I don't have to know what it is. Have you ever had a challenge where there's something you just don't feel good about? Can you think of something like that? I don't have to know what it is. Do you have something you wish you could forget? Marcus, you with me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so think of something that maybe you want to forget. Again, I don't have to know what it is. Just think of something you want to forget. All right?
Okay.
Close your eyes, keep them open. I don't care. And now what I want you to do is I just want you to point to the part in your body where you feel that emotion. You do that? So as you point to that part in your body, okay, once you point to that part in your body, I want you to basically pretend that you're going to take that out. You may want to close your eyes. You can take that part out and just get it all out in your hands, okay? Now I want you to take that and I want you to draw that into a nice big TV set, just like so. Now I want to ask you both, what color, is it in color or is it black and white what you see on the screen?
Color.
Red color? Okay. So is the picture big or is it small?
Small.
Okay, great. So you see we have an old-fashioned TV here. This isn't the expensive kind. So we have a horizontal knob, we have a vertical knob. I want you to take the one knob, which would be the horizontal, and I want you to turn it so it goes into like a nice flat pancake line. And as you just did that, tell me how you feel after you've done that. Did the emotion change at all?
Yeah, I actually feel a little bit more calmer.
All right, good. How about you?
Yeah.
Same, a little calmer. Okay. So now let's take the other one. We have the horizontal. Let's take the vertical, the other knob, and let's push it the other way, the vert knob, and let's see what we get that way. And now you just have like this tiny, really, it's almost like a dot. How do you feel now?
Even better.
Even better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That dot's so small, it couldn't possibly do anything with it, right? Now I want you to figure out some funny music that I don't care. Maybe you have a song. I want you to think of that little ball, and I want you to see that ball just jumping around the screen with some of your funniest music. And tell me how that makes you feel.
Makes me disassociate a lot of the stress involved with it.
Okay, good. How about you, Marcus?
Same here.
It worked, didn't it work? Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that this never comes back, okay? Don't worry about the TV sets. I get these on sale at Walmart. I want you to take that big TV set. I want you to take it, and I want you to crush that whole thing as big as you can. So not only the dot, but the whole set is crushed into this little pancake. Really small, like a micro pebble, almost smaller than an atom. You can barely hold it in your finger. I bet you're feeling really good now, aren't you? Right? Marcus?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
All right. If you guys like baseball, football, soccer, whatever sport you want. If you do baseball, I want you to throw it up and I want you to smash it out of the park. If you do football, I want you to throw it across into another universe. If you do soccer, do whatever works for you, but I want you to feel it in your heart. Ready? When I count to 3, I want you to throw, hit, smash, do whatever you want to do. Get that thing out of this freaking universe. 1, 2, 3. Smash it out of the universe. How do you feel now?
Relief.
Open your eyes. Now, I want to ask you something. I don't need to know what it was. How do you feel about that situation?
It doesn't really seem to bother me anymore,
Okay. How about you, Marcus?
Yes, it's just floated away.
All right. So I want to share that with you because I think that's really, really helpful. But, a lot of times you can't go and triage somebody when they're in an emergency. It's like, oh, my son, my daughter, my boyfriend, my girl. Okay. You have to be the one that's calm, right? Even though they're a little bit off the wall. And I don't want to use the word off the wall, but they have a reason to be off the wall. But generally, when you're off the wall, you're not going to be able to be rational about the decision. Right, Marcus?
That's right.
So one of the things I want to tell you is you're going to get negative people every single day in any fashion, whether it's emergencies, whether it's in business, right? And we get that too, Marcus, right? We get those people. We even get advertisers. No pun
Oh,
intended.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so challenging, right?
Yeah. Difficult people.
We get the big companies. So how do you handle negative people? And I'm on this because this is a close of my week. Yesterday was actually Friday was the day when we talked about, well, today's Sunday, but Friday we actually talked about how do you handle negative people without pulling your hair out? And the way you do that is you have to not let it bother you. So if somebody's driving you crazy, you got a friend, Marcus, right? They want
Right.
you to go hang out with them, but they're always down, right? What do? They're always down. They're always telling you, oh, man, Marcus, oh, John, I had a horrible day. Life sucks. What do?
Yeah. I think you politely tell them, hey, your energy's not right.
Your energy's not right. Hey, you want to go grab a movie? You want to go take a hike? You want to take a jog? You want to do something fun?
Yeah.
Nah, I think I just want to just stay here and just like, and watch your words here, because when people say the K words and other words, you have to realize you can't use those words because other people, especially medical people, will use those words and think that you actually mean them. I'm talking about the KILL word and other words, because even though you might think it means nothing, it's like saying the BOMB word on a plane. You just don't say certain words like because they don't really know your frame of mind. And trust me, you're going to go through a lot of psychic evaluation, psychic evaluation. And that's a problem. So when you get somebody that's having that issue and they still don't want to, they tell you, look, I don't want to, I'm really bad. Well, you know what, Brian, you know what? It's cool. How about I just go my way today and we'll connect next week? How's that sound? All right, whatever. If I'm still, and then they'll say the word to you, if I'm still alive. Ooh, and you got to watch those words too. So you can't hold somebody prisoner by trying to be a martyr. You can't do that because that's wrong for you and it's wrong for them. So now that you've done that, now that you've said, we'll just connect next week. Now Marcus should go back next week and then the same sucky self. What do you do now? Do you hit him? Do you yell at him? What do you do?
No, you can't hit them or yell at them.
You don't you don't give him a 5. You don't try to tackle him and say, hey, what's wrong with you?
No. At this point, you're gonna, reiterate, like, hey, you like this last week, let's just try something else.
What happened, man? I mean, I want to go hike. I want to go bowl. I want to go explore life. You want to come with me? Well, what would you like to do? Just stay here, maybe drink, do nothing. No, you don't want to drink. You want some water? You want some fun? Not really. Just want to stay here. So the two important things are, one is if they need help, get them help, because you have to make sure, by the way, today, June 26th, you guys know I do national days. Today is National Drug Abuse and Illicit Traffic Day, Sex Trafficking Day. So very important. Most drug things happen for people over the counter. Very, very serious. So you got to be able to recognize those signs. We're not going to get into a whole medical thing here, but I want to make that important because later on we're actually doing a video shoot at a at a medical store, pharmacy, and explaining how these over-the-counter drugs can actually kill you. So when you see somebody that depressed, make sure that they're okay. And if they are okay, fine. If they're just having that attitude, it's perfectly fine that they're having that attitude. And when they have that attitude, it's okay, but they can't do anything that's going to like try to pull you in or try to make you feel a certain way so that they try to like pull you. And so now like, no, I'm just going to hang here, man. I'm just going to sit. I'm going to play some music, play some tunes, or I'm going to do what I want to do, but I just want to hang. All right, that's fine. Come back a third time. I probably wouldn't come back the third time. On that second time, I'm like, hey, man, I get it. I just don't want to hang with you anymore. You're cool. But our energies aren't driving anymore. What's the matter? Like, that's low blow. What are you doing, man? I know we were friends for a while, but we're not connected anymore. Well, what's the matter? You need a drink? I don't need a drink. I need you to kind of enjoy life. And I'm trying to help you, but you don't want that. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but I just want to, yeah, okay. So you go away. And now that you go away, you're like, now what do you do? Well, you go away. Two things are going to happen, Marcus. You know what I'm going to say. One, they're going to be like, oh, man, what did I just do? I lost one of my best friends. We didn't lose them. They kind of went away, kind of like in a suspension for a while, or they went in the corner. And so what you do is you say, oh, maybe I better call them back. Maybe I better, or the other thing, you just say, the heck, but I don't want to bother them. So that's the two things. You're either going to lose that friend, and you're going to lose them just sort of never your friend in the first place. So how you handle negative people, and this is not just your friends, it's be colleagues, it could be peers on the squad, it could be volunteers, it could be employees, it could be anybody around, it could be your local ShopRite or supermarket. When somebody's negative and they don't have that energy, you want to get away, because see, negative energy actually will travel and you become the company you keep. Isn't that the truth, Marcus?
That's very true. Well put, John. I really love it.
Thank you. You have to realize one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that no one, I'm going to say this, and I've said this before, right, Marcus, has the right to make you feel inferior about yourself or put you down, except for who, Marcus?
Self yourself, but I don't even recommend that.
Well, but you're allowed to put yourself down. Like,
yeah.
darn, I did that wrong. Okay, you want to kick yourself, that's fine. But don't you dare do that to someone else. And if you do, realize somebody does that to me, don't let it empower you. The reason why this thing worked today is because you led the situation. Now, I know it's not easy, especially in a certain situation, but if you detach early, okay, then what's going to happen is you're going to stay detached. I think the hardest thing in medical or in any kind of volunteer is see them okay. And other than beyond that it covers, great. You get emotional with it. I mean, I watch shows on TV, and I remember there's this prep school. Remember this, Mark? They had this real high-end prep school, and the kids on the fire alarm, and they see the fire keep rushing over there. And one day, the fire was real one. So they went over there, and they got called 3-4 times, Marcus.
Wow.
There was no fire. There was no emergency. Guess what happened the next week? They called again. The police guy goes out there. He says, this is crazy. We can't do anything. We got to protect our people. I get it. So if they pay enough money, we can just shelter people and just say that they're okay and that we don't have to. Well, and so now, a week later, because he asked for help, he said no. The next week, they did again, 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
That chief was pissed. This was the chief of police, and this was the chief of the fire who actually ran the fire area. They were pissed. So now, guess what? There's no fire, and they're all mad. And now they get another call. And they got to go help somebody. It's actually a person that had a hot water tank. They were trying to do some work. The husband, the tank fell on them.
Wow.
They lift that tank, or that person can get. So now, when that happens, what do you do? So here's the problem. I'd say, John, it's no big deal. But here's what happened. They went and tried to get this kid. They let him go look at the cameras. He says, enough's enough. He says, I look at these cameras. I'm getting a warrant. He said, all right, you come to the office right now. I'm fed up too. The reason the office is, you can look at my cameras. So he starts looking at it, and very well for him. Don't let me, because I'm going. I said, no, you can come to my office. They look at the cameras. There's like nobody. I don't see the kid. There's nobody left. I said, well, how did be somebody left? The kid was still on the right, still on the other side of the gym. They found this one kid. They said, that has to be him. It's the same kid. Finally, they said, what are you doing? Well, I was hoping if I could. The people were, I don't want to say abusing him, but they were. So here's the sad thing. They help those people, right? And that person's rushed to the hospital. which obviously you knew that. But everyone's saying, how's he doing? From the family and from the ambulance squad. You know what they say? We don't know. It's too soon to tell. It's a waiting game. We have to wait a few days. He's still in a coma. So now, if that's not bad enough, here's the best part, the creme de la creme. He goes back to the kid, and he says, we're really annoyed at you. Well, for pulling a stupid fire alarm? He's like, no. Because of your games, we showed up late by 3 or 4 minutes to a situation that we could have hopefully prevented. And because of that, this person may not make it. What do you mean? We only had a few minutes to be able to get them to breathe. And I don't think we got there in time. And he says, well, I'm sorry. He says, well, sorry is not going to do it. This person might be dead. So he goes to me, he says, here, I'll tell you what you're going to do for me. You're not only going to apologize to the principal and the people, everybody else in the squad, you're going to apologize to their family. So they bring him to the hospital. And he goes, I'm sorry. He's like, and the person that was there on the bed, here's the sad part. He didn't make it. He awoke. He said he was sorry, and he died. So why do I bring that to your attention? It's not about being cool to try to pull a false alarm. It's you don't realize we only have so many resources in our town and our county, and they come by first come, first serve. They don't say, well, gee, because you're black, because you're white, because you're this, because you're this gender, because you're an orientation. They don't discriminate. They just go out for anybody. And so when you call and you need help more than this other person, maybe you're at a pool and they can't get to you, let's say Indian Trail Club, because you decided to pull the fire alarm at Brown Post School. They're all there trying to help everybody, trying to isolate a situation. And now the person at Indian Trail is nearly on his life. Hopefully he's going to make it in time. Isn't that sad, Marcus? Did we lose you, Marcus? Oh, you muted. Okay.
I said that's very sad, and that's just the reality of everything, that's going on nowadays.
I think what we bring to the scene is that we have to realize that people are people, and that we have to do the right thing in life. And so it's not because you have to do the right thing. It should be because you want to do the right thing. If you don't do the right thing, you're going to get in trouble with the police and a lot of other things. But you should want to do the right thing. Because if you don't want to do the right thing, would you want on your conscience that because of my little practical joke, somebody died? I don't think I'd want that, Marcus.
No, that'd be totally terrible to live with.
So I know we have to wrap up with you, but I just any other concluding words, anything else you want to share with us about anything else happening in the squad or anything else that might be important to share with everybody?
Well, I think you mentioned a very good point about the whole little fire alarm situation there. So it doesn't happen too often in my experience. But,
Okay.
When you kind of are calling a lot, and it's a lot of times for, I guess, what we can best describe as nonsense, it kind of does desensitize us, and we're not so attuned to responding. But another note I want to make as well is with some of our frequent flyers, when it's the same thing over and over again,
Yes.
and something actually serious does happen to them,
Yeah.
we sometimes don't make the effort to get out there sometimes because we think in that mindset, oh, it's so-and-so.
Well, that's a good point. Now,
That's one aspect.
you always say, the EMTs always say around all over, that if you have a problem, call us. Like, we're not here we don't mind if you call us. If you have something, even if it's something small or a bite, we don't care.
Right.
We'd rather come out. But at the same token, if you're like Mr. Panic, like you push the button because, well, I live in this great town and I pay taxes, have a little courtesy because somebody might need that help more than you. Right, Marcus?
That's very right. That's very true. So that's what it's all about.
I'm sorry, you can say something. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, if you generally are not sure, I don't want to dissuade anybody from obviously getting the help that they may need.
Right.
But, if there's something that's going on constantly and you're having us there all the time and it's something minute, maybe it wouldn't hurt to kind of follow up with your doctor or
Good idea.
Going out to other sources and things in that regard. Because we're going to recommend that too.
And there's only so much they can do. And I want to talk about something else, which I think it's all right to talk about. If let's say any EMT goes to a scene, and let's just say that they decide that they don't want your services. Let's say a pool calls. I might not even use our town. I'll use Clifton. And let's say somebody calls in the Clifton squad, and now they come out and they help them out of the pool, whatever. I think I'm all right. They you want us to come for testing and I say no, what happens?
Well, I mean, if it's something we really feel concerned about, we're going to push to go.
Okay.
We obviously can't force anybody against their will if they're
Okay.
of sound mind and they're thinking
Okay.
straight and they can answer.
So pushing basically just means that you're going to try to persuade.
Right, exactly.
You
I mean,
should
we're not gonna force anybody. We're not gonna coerce anybody or say,
Okay.
if you don't do this, we'll say like, if you don't come with us, okay, well then you can't call us back. That's not what we're.
Oh, you
we're
can't.
saying.
You can't. Oh, you're not saying. Okay. I was like, wow.
We have something called an RMA, which is basically a refusal of medical attention. If you don't want to go, we a lot of times have you sign that. It basically is just a little. It's big, kind of like a legal document where you just sign that basically acknowledges that we explain the potential risks of refusing our attention and going to the hospital. So basically, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you can't call us back. It's not a binding contract. So once you sign it, it doesn't mean we can't come back and help you if you change your mind or if anything else.
It's just something to cover yourself, so that
I guess you can say that, but
Yeah.
it's just another thing to just be an acknowledgement that we came, we saw you, and we advised you. You know, we just like to have it really as a record that we did what we were supposed to.
it's a protection too. You helped you, and it's a protection. So you
Yeah,
have to know.
there's
People do get a little
aspect.
crazy with some paper and docs and courts and things. So I think it's that kind of thing. But yeah, if you call and there's an issue, so I mean, you kind of know, and also you kind of know if you're in good health or not. Most of the time, you do know. And if you're feeling a chest pain, you're feeling something, people say to me, John, is that serious? We don't know, but the chances are, if you have something like that and it goes away, probably okay. It could be because of pain, because of your diet. So if you get better because of exercise things, it's probably okay. But if you keep getting that pain right here in the chest, you probably should get looked at. I mean, if it's for one day, I still don't think you should avoid it. But if you decide you're going to do it for a day, right? But if it goes away, I'm not telling you it's just tonight, but the whole point is it keeps coming back, because I'm sure we've had this where I know myself, many of you guys know I was 249 pounds. I'm down to 7. And still going down to 165, Marcus, almost there.
I'm on my way.
I will tell you that when I don't think I was overweight, but I still was overweight because I was knocking the darn iPhone off. So that's why I consider myself overweight. And when I know this, you felt stuff in your chest. It wasn't like you were unhealthy, but it was because your heart was trying to pump harder to get the rest of your body. And just now, no one told me to do any of this. I did this on my own accord. He said, what doctor told me? Oh. In fact, my own doctor, when I told him, I even got him, he says, you're down to what? I said, is that okay? He says, yeah. He says, how much did you lose? You don't look the same. I said, I'm healthy. And I said, no, you look great, but like, where'd you go? Like, what happened to you? Like, well, I implemented my own plan. Really? And they look at me like, so I think, when you address your health, your blood is going to pump better. And so a lot of times you'll get pain, you'll get sensation, things like that. So having good circulation in your body is really important. Drinking lots of water, by the way, National Hydration Day was just the other day. Definitely want to drink lots of water. And I think you want to be sensible. And I'm going to say something on the drug end here, because today is National Narcotics Awareness Day. I tend to be a person that doesn't like to take anything. I'm more of a homeopath, but I'll tell you that I think if I've had 12 Advils in my life, that's a lot. So I think that when your body gets used to the fact that you need it, you train yourself to respond to it. If I said to you, here's an Advil, and I give you a candy and you had it, chances are, I bet you're probably still going to lose that headache, because a lot of it's in the mind. Now, that's not with all medicine. So I think when you build that tolerance to it, and also when you keep having it, then you're going to need more medicine, because that medicine's not going to work as well. So I think that's a big problem. What do you think about that, Marcus? Did we mute again? Okay. So before I say goodbye to you, Marcus, anything you want to ask Nicholas before he leaves our set tonight?
Oh, no, I just really thank him for his service and all that he's doing to keep everybody safe out there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we definitely have a similar mind. I'm a first responder in a different way. I do the OEM and the CERT, and Nicholas does the does the EMT, which is the next level up. But I will tell you that none of these jobs are very easy, because sometimes you have to deal with people and they don't understand. I remember, Nicholas, when I became an OEM many years ago, and I wasn't even CERT yet, Community Emergency Response Team. I had a guy right on
I think it was High Mountain Road in Fairfield Lakes. And you remember when they had the issue with the kid who basically, somebody had gotten killed because of the line in the street. It was all over the news. Father went back to help with the shoveling, and bam, it was a big problem. It was all in the news. So I was stationed on the road to help people because there was a wire down on another street. And so I was there between High Mountain Road, the other, not the same road that he had got hurt on. And I was standing there, had my lights and everything, had my wand. And guy come up to me, I think he had a BMW or Jag or whatever it was. And he's like, move. I said, no, sir. He's like, look, you don't move, I'm going to run you over. I said, well, not only are you going to probably make me a statistic, but you're going to become a statistic if you do that as well. Huh? Well, sir, the reason I'm standing here isn't to aggravate you. You know, it seems like it. I'm standing here because about 500 feet down, there's a cone. About 150 feet from that, there's a wire down. And should you knock me, kill me, whatever, and go through me, there's about a 50 to 80% chance you're probably not going to make it. Oh. And just quick backpedals around. So I think when people understand that you're doing something for their safety, they're a little bit more understanding. Would you say that? Like,
I would say more reasonable.
They're more
Or
reasonable.
at least more understanding.
You've got to make it, though, not a demand. You've got to make it, even though it's very important and it's major.
Well,
You
it's
gotta-
very frustrating.
You got to make it a request. I know even in sales, right, Marcus? We say to people, look, this is a great thing to do. I don't ever sell anybody. I give them the options and I let them make the choice. And so I think
That's right.
been the challenge, and you know my story, Marcus. I won't go into that because we have to let him leave in a minute. But I broke my tib and fib, you guys, so many years ago, and you know my story.
Yeah.
I had a lawyer that was ready to do a cease and desist, to have Judge DiGiacomo woken up and have the entire team arrested with a cease and desist order for a restraining order because we had a schmuck that was a surgeon. And the moral of the story was all they had to do, Marcus, was set my leg. And if I wouldn't have sent that informal cease and desist, I might have had all these pins and needles in me that I didn't need. And I joked with them. I said, you're just trying to get a down payment for your partner, significant other, so you need my $120,000 to pay for, I guess, your deposit on your new car. They laughed.
Yeah.
So I asked for every single person in the hospital, for all the departments in front of my bedside charged for surgery. Every single one of those departments were all in front of my beds. I said, John, Mr. Morley, we don't need to operate. I've been trying to tell you people this since yesterday. We're just trying to make it better for you. You're just trying to make more money for yourself. You just need a cast. So what they did, Marcus, is they put a 17-pound cast on my leg. That was that was ridiculous. And then I did physical therapy people, and I did my own physical therapy. So I think sometimes there is a good part of medical, but there's sometimes that some of them are not always good. I'm not saying everyone, but there are sometimes when they get pushy, and you really need to do your due diligence at the hospital. You need to make sure that you understand what's going on. I didn't have any family or friends around me. And here's the real remarkable part. They were drugging me against my will. But because of my sound mind and my techniques, the drugs weren't working.
Wow.
I said, don't care. I said, try it again. I said, you're gonna. I took a picture of every person that touched me. And if something would have ever happened to me, that feed was going off to news. I didn't trust anybody. I had nobody to protect me. So I think sometimes you got to realize that these people in the hospital, you got to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to. Guy came in to take blood from me. I said, why are you taking blood? Well, because yeah, but I just got it for 3 hours. I'm supposed to take blood for 3 hours. And why aren't you taking it from the tap? Oh, we don't have that technology. We don't have that technology up here. That's what we think about it. What the heck kind of hospital is this? Then I go ask for somebody that's, because a lot of them don't speak English. And then you're like, no, get me somebody who speaks English. Oh, no, you're right, Mr. Morley. We're only supposed to do a blood pressure. Then they put, I'm like, use the medium one. He goes 10 minutes, he puts the wrong cup, and I told you the medium. You can't make this stuff up, Marcus.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. How malpractice can occur.
Thank you for joining us. I'm sure we'll see you again. Marcus, we'll say goodbye to Nicholas again. Thank you very much for all your time, for everything you do.
Thank you so much, Nicholas.
Life off and serving and trying to deal with these people, which I know is not always an easy thing.
And sometimes your peers. There, you have to work with everybody. You have to work well. So thank you again once more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And have some cake and take a mug on your way out. And we appreciate everything you do.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure.
Everybody have a good one.
You too. Interesting, Marcus, isn't it?
Yeah, very interesting. And that was awesome interview, and great stuff there.
Yeah, incidentally, and you'll be on our podcast. So all of our shows go actually to an audio later on. Have some cake too and some cookies on your way out.
Thanks.
My pleasure. So again, this is what I want to see more of, Marcus. I want to see more of our show doing this.
Yeah, I really like this platform. It's very laid back, and it's very engaging and interactive. So I like it.
So I think that's good. And then, like I said, you're part of the show. We don't have to keep going back and forth. I think that's a good thing. But EMTs, emergency medical technicians, are people that sometimes don't get a reward. They don't get a thank you.
No.
And they're the people that may make the difference to you surviving. Now, I know a lot of them out there, sometimes they can have a comp that can happen in some places. But there's a lot of good ones out there, and they really want to do what's best for you because they've signed up to help people. They don't get paid to be an EMT. Some places do get paid, like if they're full-time, but your paramedics, they get paid. But the thing you have to understand is that they're under a lot of stress, Marcus. They have time that they got to respond. If they don't respond in that time, it could be your life on the line.
Yeah, I can imagine the trauma that they experience, and just the need to be able to talk to someone in safe spaces about stuff they see.
I think that's our biggest problem, and getting to know the EMT and getting to know like your police department, your fire department. A lot of people say to me, John, why do I want to get to know them? I only want to know them if there's a problem. When I was younger, I was always taught, well, you don't want to meet those people. Later on, when I got out into the world, before I moved to Franklin Lakes, I was in Kinnelon, I was in Wayne before that. And we were taught in Wayne, you don't talk to your police department unless there's a problem. When I was in Kinnelon, I started to learn that the police department's actually your friends and they're here to help you, even the fire department and the EMT. So I want to deliver that message to everyone of all ages that they're here to help you. And if you need something, reach out to them, not just the younger kids. This is what they're doing, Marcus, in a lot of schools. They're making sure that everything is going the way it should go. And based on that, so that they feel comfortable, they're able to see if, Johnny or Bobby or Mary isn't responding properly and, kind of catch the past. But EMTs definitely come a long way. And I want to jump over to Apple. Apple's getting serious, aren't they, Marcus?
They are.
Spam now.
they're way past due on that. That should have been done.
I'm so long. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like they've been paid to just over these couple of years to just hold off on it. I don't know.
So now I think the reason they're doing it, I think we haven't seen the real reason, but I think it's something with FCC.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Speaking of people in social media, so I can't give you the exact details because it's a confidential client, but I had a client come to me who was in danger of losing his Facebook page. Okay, now first thing I want to tell you is when you set up a Facebook page, if it's for your business, do not set up a personal page and put your company name on it. That's trouble. Second thing I want to tell you, make sure you enable two-factor authentication on your Facebook. Important. Next thing, make sure you have a partner, a very good friend, significant other mentor, somebody you trust that could be your backup editor. Because see, even though if you have admins, they don't have the ability to approve other editors. They only can handle their level. So what happened in this situation is somebody saw his company was getting some exposure. And let's just say they did some bad things to his personal page, putting some very obscene content on there. Content that would be considered, let's say, illegal. Very minor adult content.
Wow.
And not only did that cause a problem, he lost about 20 or 30 good friends because now he's got to do damage reputation because they don't really know if he did that or not. Now, I know he didn't, but think of the hassle. So he came to me to help him, and he basically had 30 days because he has this big page, which again is a personal page. If they delete his personal page, he might lose his business, might lose his pseudo business page, which is a personal page. Met with him the other day and talked with him about it and explained to him all the challenges. I don't think people realize, and you and I know this because we had an issue with Facebook a while back, that you got to hit them where their money is. You got to hit them where their money's coming in. And then they sort of pay attention, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
197 violations I had. And magically, poof, they all vanished when I logged in. You can't make this up.
No, you can't.
So I think right now people need to start using two-factor. That's definitely a big thing. And I also want to say kudos to the division of Apple's retail stores that we talked about not too long ago. Congratulations to them for being the first one to unionize. Apple wasn't too happy. You know, Apple, and I think a lot of these other stores, I'm not going to name them, you know, one starts with a B, one starts with an S. There's another one out there that starts sometimes with some of these other tech stores. I'm trying not to give you the names. They pay their people very low, don't they? And then they have a very low regard for even providing service.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know, billions and billions. It's not like they're small guys, Marcus. They're making a lot of money.
Yeah, they want you to keep giving you the money for a poor service.
Exactly. And so now that they unionize, Apple's going to be forced to work over some more dough. And I wouldn't be surprised if more stores start to unionize.
Yeah, I think I could see that coming, actually.
I mean, I'll tell you this, it's a process. But what I would like to see, I know probably won't happen, I would love to see that store that unionized maybe put together a document or a doctrine or some kind of a help program.
Right.
Maybe start a not-for-profit that helps other companies unionize for Facebook, not Facebook, for the Apple issues. Because I think a lot of people don't know how to do it. They're not going to hire an attorney.
No.
So I think that's a problem. We all know the other problem with Amazon. They're treating their workers like crap, aren't they?
Oh man, I hear horror stories all the time, John. It's not getting any better.
Not only are they treating them like crap, they're actually busing them to and from their crap facilities.
Yeah.
Free transportation.
Yeah, that's all. You can get some free transportation because they want to work you to death.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, now I think it's going to become worse, Marcus, because now what they're doing is Amazon, as you know, they rolled out that robot in California for the first drone delivery, which is supposed to take off soon. And now they have the Amazon new fulfillment robot. And what that's going to do, I'm going to tell you, it's probably going to get rid of several thousand jobs.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, what scares me the most is that they're going to get rid of them immediately without even like testing to see if this is going to be a successful project.
I think the challenge is that they're just doing what's going to put money in their pocket.
Right, exactly.
And but Amazon's got another big problem. You know what that is? It's confusing because now you do searches, right?
Right.
And they're returning all kinds of garbage. Do you know why that's happening?
Why is that, John?
Because they're stuck and married with the people in China. And they got
Yeah.
all kinds of problems. You know, Marcus, there is no shortage.
No.
There's no shortage. So I don't know what people are going to do, But all I know is that this has got to stop soon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they got to do better. They definitely got to do better, and they got to stop, being so money minded and more about people.
It it's about making money and a profit, and I get that they're making money and a profit, and I'm not trying to begrudge them. What I have the issue with is that they're not delivering a high quality product and services. I remember, I don't know, Marcus, it had to be 5 or 10 years ago when I went to the Amazon store. That was a disaster. I went to the Amazon store in Willowbrook because I wanted to return something. The product that I wanted to return at that time, they weren't accepting returns. It was a third party company. So I either had to mail it back to them or I had to go to an Amazon store. Most of the time, you don't have that issue, but when it's a third party and they don't want to pay for it, you got to go back and deliver it back to them or pay for shipment back. So I don't know. I think the turnover rate, Marcus, is really high.
It is.
It's high, but I don't get something, Marcus. How do they stay in business and make so damn much money?
Yeah, they try to position themselves like they're the only one in the game that's doing this, but there's so many other uh, places you can go besides Amazon now. You got even Walmart is doing something similar. So
They're all trying to do stuff, but you know what all these stores are doing? Whether it's Walmart, whether it's Target, even Sears was doing it when they were around for a while. They were having a product and then they were sourcing it to somebody else. So they never had anything in stock. Walmart does this a lot. Like, oh, I didn't know they carried that. Well, they don't. They just get it from somewhere. That's just as good as not having it, Marcus.
yeah, you might as well not have it. So
I could tell you that I sell surgery equipment. I don't have it.
right.
I can get it.
Yeah, you're just the middleman. That's all you are. So
So I think people have to be cognizant of this, about choices, about what's going on in life. And even as we talked about, we talked about that car, right? We said before about that car, people, myself included, we were hung on that Tesla name. We thought it was so great. But we're starting to realize that just because it's the most expensive doesn't mean it's built on quality. I never would have believed in a million years that this was going to happen. And I blame it, I don't want to say on COVID, but I blame it on the circumstances that emanated from COVID, which is basically longer times for delivery, but lower problems with the production quality and just lower morale.
absolutely. When you don't set the standard right at the beginning and you're setting the standard for like high quality, instead, you focus on like, how can I get the highest, profit margin very quickly? This is what happens.
We have a new program we launched, for those of you that haven't followed, JCM Academy launched a few weeks ago, and we have a thing called how to start a business, and we have other topics in there as well. But we talked about something which was called inbound. And so inbound is a way of dealing with a company that's not pushing sales. It's all about being customer or client focused. And there's an acronym called AED, and it's not the one you think about, the EMTs use, or for the AED device to save your life. It's attract, engage, and delight. So attract, very similar to the way, let's say it could be a fly, it could be anything. It gets attracted to food, right? So people get attracted to something. Maybe it's your technology, maybe it's your food, maybe it's your service. Then you need to engage them by involving them, and you need to delight them. Now, this all happens in the cycle of sales. But one thing, Marcus, as we talk about, is people today don't want to be sold. They want to make the decision themselves. Like I was telling Nicholas before, people want to think it's their idea, even if it's not. Pretty interesting how we got you to forget something, right? In just a few minutes, right? Careful our mind is.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But just going back to what you're saying, though, John. When you ask customers the right questions and you lead them to buy it rather than just like trying to convince them, it works out a lot more better. So you're on target there.
Ask the right questions, and this is something that we launched our new series of master topics, mini master topics starting Saturday. We launched it, and this week it is basically about questions. What questions should you ask to start good conversations? At the end of the day, which was Saturday, the first show for the week, we said the most important thing, Marcus, is to ask what kind of question you think we should ask. What's the most important kind of question you think we should ask?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna lend that back to you. Because it's out of my head, but I can't think of it right now.
All right, no problem. So there's two kinds of questions that exist. One is called an open question, and one is called a closed question. Have you heard that before?
Yes, I think I did. There we go.
So when you typically either ask somebody out or you go to a store, you ask closed questions. Is the paint in aisle 7? No. Or you ask you, do you like me? No. Yes. Do you like the food? No. Will I succeed? No. Yes. Will you be home late for dinner? Yes. Or do you like the networking event? No. What does that really do for you, Marcus? Very quick.
It's a very quick answer, but it doesn't give you much of an explanation. It doesn't give you nothing.
Well, it shuts down communication because if the answer is no, the communication shuts down almost immediately. If you say yes, communication is turned down, but you can still say, oh, you do like that. And now you can feed on that. But if you say no, it's like you're done.
Yeah.
There was a wise company a while back that said, let's ask a couple questions before we get started. If the answer to any one of those questions is no, we say goodbye. But I have to say, Marcus, I don't like that because I think any person has a potential.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
So I want to share something important before I give you the answer to that. And, people say to me, John, how do you attract abundance? What do you do for abundance? And so people say, gee, I want to attract it. Great. You're not going to get it. The reason is you don't link it to anything. So you remember I did the one about large sums of money come to me easily, quickly, and increase in quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis for the good of all that I get to keep. I mean, that's great, right? But it's not linked to anything, Marcus.
Right.
Right? Instead, think of this one. People and thoughts bring me either large sums of money, or people and thoughts bring abundant amounts of money that I get to keep regularly. You see the difference with those statements?
It's more specific. It really cuts down to the bottom.
That means that when my brain, subconscious, sees a person or there's a thought, any thought, I just know that it engages more money.
Exactly. I like
so
it.
If you have an affirmation, and it might be the greatest affirmation you think in the world, and it sounds so positive. If it doesn't link to something, don't even say it. Because it's probably not going to bring about your result. Ever. I'll give you an example. Let's say I had a gentleman last night that I was having dinner with that actually a guest on one of the shows. And he wanted to meet me in person. I said, okay, no problem. And we were supposed to meet a few weeks ago. I went down to the restaurant that was about midway from his place and my place. And I showed up and he had his issue with his mom. The phone was having a problem. And then he was coming as I was leaving. Like I was just saying, well, I'm just paying the check. And he's like, well, I'm just pulling in. I'm like, it's an hour later. Like, oh, my phone was off and this and that. I'm like, Oh. And he says to me, John, he says, I want to still meet you. I said, well, I'm not going to drive all the way down there again. No. I'll meet you where you are. Oh, okay. But he had a cup of coffee. I had a cup of tea. So I used a suggestion to him, and I said, every time you see a cup of tea or a coffee mug, it just compels you to want to say thank you or compliment the person sitting across from you, doesn't it? You know what he said to me?
What did he say?
Before we left in the evening, I was having a cup of tea, and he's like, I like you. You have a nice style. So even though we had a good rapport, okay, those suggestions work, Marcus.
They do.
they absolutely work. And, they may not work immediately for you, but when you make them, and then we were having a joke about it. I said, I gave you the suggestion. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, and I'm already complimenting you, not even like he knew it. And he's like, it's just so natural to want to compliment you again. So I think Marcus, when we take our brain and we associate it with something, we create a lot of positivity, but we create a connection. You remember the example I used with the $5 bill? I'll do that again. Remember the $5 bill example I used?
Right.
Okay. So I take the $5 bill, right, and I spell it. Oh, I am one with money in abundance. I did again. Oh, I am one with money in abundance. I am one with money in abundance. Now you might say, John, why the heck are you smelling your money? Well, because it created an association.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I love this new acronym I came up with, and it's people and thoughts bring more abundance into my life that I get to keep. Now, why did I add that last piece? Do you know why I added the last piece?
Yeah, you don't want it, slipping away from you,
If I bring it in, I'm constantly having to give it away. What good is it?
Exactly.
So that's kind of what it means. But so our mind is very powerful, but nobody bothers to use it because it didn't come with a manual or a Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's its own supercomputer.
It's a very powerful supercomputer. So let's say, for example, what's one of your favorite sports, Marcus?
I love basketball.
All right. So if I say basketball, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? First thing.
I think of one of my favorite players.
Okay. Who's your favorite player?
Right now, I like Steph Curry.
Okay. So if I said to you, what's a sport you don't like so much?
Racquetball.
Okay. So when I think of racquetball, what do you think of?
I think of just every horrible thing that comes with racquetball that I don't like. It's just like the fact that I can't play it.
In the head.
Yeah, I can hit in the head. So.
And everybody does this. If you were to go play I've played racquetball many times. The chances of you getting hit would be pretty high.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because I'll be thinking about it, getting hit in the head.
Thinking about, well, I don't want to get hit, but your body, your subconscious is already saying, well, gee, I don't want to get hit, but I'm already getting close to the ball, and you're already going to get hit.
Right.
So our mind, just like when we did the thing with the basketball, it went through your supercomputer and said, oh, gee, let me pull up that image of the time he saw me playing on the court, and I was going for the jump shot or whatever. That's probably what happened in your head. Mm-hmm. When I say cell phone to you, when I say birthday party to you, people think of something usually good. When I mentioned the thing with the ambulance, a lot of people don't have a positive experience, but they think of an ambulance, right? They go through a file and they think of what goes in their head.
Yeah.
So our brain is very smart with the way it files things. When we learn how to manage our head, it works well. Like I showed you with the cup of coffee. So I want to give everyone an assignment here. We have a few more minutes left before we need to wrap up. But, and by the way, if any of you are here in the Oakland, Franklin Lakes, Wyckoff area, Wayne, Totowa, anywhere I would say within a half hour, I mean, you could come further, but we're probably not going to be here because we're only here till 4:30. Come by, have some cake, see a wonderful mug. In fact, I'm actually going to just jump off camera a second because I want to go to my prop person and get a mug. And I'm going to show you what we're actually giving out to everyone that registers today. So one of our companies actually makes these, and you know what it says? I'm not sure if you can read it. Can you read that, Marcus, or no?
I can see it's. Oh, there we go. A happy second birthday.
It says,
Yeah.
I wish
John JMOR shows.
I wish JMOR a happy second birthday on June 26, 2022. You flip it over, the JMOR connection.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really beautiful.
So if you're here, you're not only going to get one of these, you're going to get a delicious piece of cake. You're going to get to meet us in person. And incidentally, if you are in the local area, maybe you're an assemblyman, maybe you're a freeholder, could be a mayor, anybody, I would welcome you to reach out to my PR team, and we'd love to get you scheduled for an in-person show with myself and Marcus, and we can start talking about topics I think that matter. There was another topic I have to tell you, and that was the whole thing that, there's this whole controversy now, Marcus, about abortion. And there always has been, but now companies, Marcus, are actually going to pay money, some companies, to fly you to states that are legal to get an abortion.
Yeah, I mean, what this has done is really open up opportunities, and I think it's going to mature people to kind of like think outside of the box.
I always told you what I do at my box. I step on the darn thing; it's gone. I light it up.
Yeah.
Speaking about fire, one of my dreams, it's going to happen, Marcus. Can't do it here, though. I think we have to wait till we get our own studio. I want to set a drink on fire. For one of my science experiments, I want to set a tumbler on fire.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
So we have that coming. We're working on our STEM project, and our chemistry lab will be ready in a few weeks. We'll be doing that. And we hope to be doing more, like I said, in-person shoots. But the mind is so powerful. It's that people don't take the time to figure out how to use it. Well, I just gave it something, it didn't work. So if you go to your copy machine and let's say that you make a photocopy or you attempt to, and it didn't work, most people are like, oh, it doesn't work, call the service department. Not realizing that they have to put their ID in, or not realizing that they actually have to hit a button first. People become impatient, don't they, Marcus?
They do. I think what happens is people like get so caught up in the limitations and don't know how to get around them.
I think our world is becoming more impatient because, yes, they want it now, but I think the big reason goes back to something we always talk about. You only do things in life for two reasons. You remember what those were, Marcus?
Remind us, John.
To avoid pain and gain pleasure.
Pain, and pleasure.
That's why our hospitals are so busy and the ambulances are so busy, because people are in pain and people want to get out of pain. But wouldn't it be better to stay in pleasure your life? I think so.
I definitely agree.
Why don't we focus more on pleasure, more on abundance? Stop focusing on lack and focus on what we have.
Right.
But I think people right now react the way they do because if you were to understand, it's about them staying out of pain. And that's why they're impatient. They feel, Marcus, that if we continue down this path, we're going to be in pain. Because maybe we were in pain before.
No, I totally disagree. I think there's pleasure, in every situation.
Agree.
I'm agreeing. I think I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
It's something. I mean, if somebody had a choice right now of being patient or being kind, that's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of people are going to try to opt out of both of them. And that's sad. We gotta do better.
Patient or kind? They're close to each other, though.
They're very close. hey, because patience is going to lead to kindness. So
But somebody could be rude and be patient. I think I would probably rather the person be patient so I wouldn't have to deal with so many messages combating me.
yeah. I mean, the other thing about patience, though, like, even if they're rude, why they patient is that, like, after they figure it out, like, oh, okay, that's what I was waiting for all along. Oh, it wasn't so bad. They become appreciative.
I think that's the whole issue. And a lot of people today, they go by what everybody else says. And when they go by what everybody else says, they feel that they got to do what the Joneses are doing. It might not be what they want, but they suddenly, I don't know, they kind of blend in like a mold, like clay to a mold or something. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So how do we get more people in our world to be patient? I guess is the question I want to ask, the $1 million question.
That is definitely $1 million question. And
so
yeah,
I have an answer.
Okay.
A lot of people won't do it. I've said to you many times, Marcus, we can't change other people. Don't even try.
Okay? No. That's right.
What we can do, though, is we could change ourselves and we could change how we respond to others.
Yeah, I like that.
When we do that, it will work. Because the whole idea, we've talked about this before, is that you can be in rapport with somebody, right? And you can fall out of rapport. Now, I have a question for you. If I'm angry with you, or angry with somebody, or I'm fighting with somebody, hopefully I'm not, am I in rapport with them?
No, typically you're not.
I would have said that before I went to psychology class.
Really? Okay.
You're actually in rapport with them. Now, I know this sounds stupid.
Yeah, it sounds silly.
Rapport just means that you're in alignment with what's going on. It doesn't mean they have to like you or love you. It just means that your movements are synchronized with each other. So somebody is in rapport.
That's interesting.
Right? Because if we weren't in rapport, we wouldn't be fighting. We wouldn't be talking. We wouldn't be carrying out any kind of action.
I agree.
But when you say to people, a lot of self-motivation, get in rapport. And yes, we want to get in rapport, but we want you to get into a positive rapport. Because you could build negative rapport, right?
Right.
And they might, for example, never give you the time of day, but they want to be around you so they can fester, so they can annoy you, so they can bug you.
Right.
Like rapport. Interesting, right?
That's very interesting.
And so getting back to what we talked about before, which was that whole thing I did with you and Nicholas, I think when you can show an example like that, like to our home viewers, this stuff works. And just so the audience knows, I didn't tell Marcus, I tell him a lot of times what we're doing in the show with the show notes, but he can vouch. I didn't tell him anything about that experiment, did I?
No, you did not. That was totally
here, but I didn't tell him anything about that.
You're right.
And you guys are both good sports. But I think the point is that when you can do something like that and our audience can see it, other shows don't do that, Marcus.
No, they don't. No.
We just really, I don't know, pick the coffee out of the mug or pick the drink out. I mean, we get that blood out of a stone.
That's cool.
And I like to say these are powerful nuggets that we have. They're nuggets that inspire people to want to become better and help others become better.
I agree.
What do you think, Marcus? So we only have a few more minutes before we wrap up our super show. We haven't had a show this long. We normally do about a 45, 50-minute show. So this is like a super show because it is our birthday. And happy to celebrate that. And we'll be having our birthday celebration every year, but hopefully we'll have other shows that'll have long keps in, like we'll probably do one around the holidays, and we'll get some guests in locally to talk to us about some of the security dangers of the holidays and things like that. So I think this will really be cool, but my goal was to have a live show maybe once a month, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be totally awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
You know, the thing is, our show is Friday night, so we're going to truly be live because we usually start at 5:30. But I thought it was important, Mark, and you did too, is for us to do the show on our birthday, which is today. This is the day we were born.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing. And I think when a lot of people hear a talk show, the first thing that goes to my mind, oh my gosh, you know, you're on the air, you're on a radio. And people say, well, what do you do? Well, what do you mean, what do you do? We provide information. Oh, about what? I get guests, Marcus, that say they want to be a guest on any one of my shows, and like, oh, well, what do you guys talk about on there? Well, why are you applying to be a guest if you don't know what our show's about? Well, I can talk about anything. Maybe you should go to our website, I don't know, and maybe watch a show or two, like, so you might know what we're talking about. Yeah, I'm really busy. I get that you're busy, but I don't think we really want to bring somebody on the air that can't spend 10 or 15 minutes to watch a little of our show.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
But you know, we said this once before, and I want to end with this topic for today.
Mm-hmm.
Busy, right? What does it mean, Marcus, to be busy?
Usually means that like you're not really doing anything. Really, you know, busy is not really doing anything. It's just an excuse.
Exactly. So people today say, "Oh, I'm busy. I'm on the phone," or they make, "Oh, I'm busy. I'm calling somebody." Like they don't want to talk to. "Oh, I'm busy. I'm calling somebody," and they're not doing anything. Or like today, we had some people, but not as many people that could come. We reached over 30,000 people today. They're not all here. Why? They're quote unquote busy. But what does busy mean, truly? Busy means that you've got something that you have placed a higher priority on than what we're doing. That's what busy means, truthfully.
Right.
Doesn't mean you don't have time, because, Marcus, everything in our life that you want to do, that I want to do, we do, don't we? We make time for it.
Right.
So busy is just, I think it's a polite way of saying, I don't want to come, but I'd rather people not say they're busy. I'd rather just say, hey, I don't want to come.
Yeah, it's really hard for people to be direct about their choices that they're making. You know, sometimes people feel like this personal.
It's about choices, and it's about understanding that life has lots of choices. And if we're at a fork of the road and we go left, something can happen, or we go right. Many people in life, I did a video on this about a year ago. It's about, I had a Y and I had a sprinkler. And I had used a little Y, and I took a sprinkler head with the two little valves. And I said in life, you know, a lot of people always take that road that is more traveled. Why? Because it's easier. It seems safer because other people have done it. You know, and we know it. Those are the reasons.
Yeah.
But also, it's going to breed results that we expect, or it's going to be safe. We don't have to worry about anything. We don't have to adapt to anything because we know everything about the path. But the one on the right, let's say it's the one on the right, people don't always take that one. Maybe it has no marks in the pavement or in the dirt. Maybe people won't go that way because that path goes around several trees, or maybe that path has some darkness on it. This makes me think back to a long time ago when I was at a place, they're not in business anymore, called Rainbow Rapids. They actually got sued and they were shut down. They were one of the very first, we'll call it water slide parks. And this was in Seaside Heights down the shore, and their park was actually all in concrete, which is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
They closed because a few people cut their heads open. Again, it's not going to happen if you're careful, but people were horsing around and, you know, that's what happened. And they had different color mats, and these mats would tell you your time. When your mat color was called, that was your time to get out. Every 30 minutes, another mat was called. And a mat was usually good for 60 minutes, 30 minutes, or 90 minutes, depending on what color you paid for. And that just talked where you were in the sequence at the time. So there were, I don't know, Marcus, maybe about 12 different slides. And the first time I went, all the paths were unknown. And then you went on 1 or 2 slides, pretty easy, and you kept going on the same ones again because you knew what they were like.
Right.
You didn't want to experience something new. But then after a while, I said, you know what? You're getting boring. I want something with a little bit more fun, or I want some excitement. I want to not know what's going to be there. So I took another slide, a slide that actually had some darkness, that had waterfall. Now, I think when somebody doesn't know something, Mark, it scares people, and they put in that word, VAR, false evidence rail.
That's true. Yeah.
You always take the easy path, you're not going to reach success.
No.
It's not an easy path. There's going to be trials, there's going to be tribulations. But when you reach it, it's funny that all those people are at the end waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or that they suddenly want to take the path with you and now befriend you. But before, they were too busy, quote unquote, and give you the time of day. But suddenly, now because we had 98,000 views. Oh, wow, let me follow you. You had 98,000 views.
Yeah.
Does that mean that people don't have their own money? Does it mean that people don't care about anything?
I don't.
I mean, people are lazy.
Yeah, it's a little bit more towards the laziness side, and when you add that fear factor in, people want more information to put them at ease, and even when they have the information, they're still lazy.
And lazy, I get lazy sometimes. People want to sit on the beach, or they want to sit and relax or on vacation. That's lazy. But I even say when you're away, there's a time to be lazy, but then there's a time you got to keep your brain going. You got to keep exercising. You should never take a vacation from life's challenges. Even if you're on vacation, I don't tell you to do work, but I tell you to keep engaging the mind. If you're 5, you're 10, you're 20, you're 40, you're 50, you're 60, you're 80, you're 90, you're 100, you're 120, or whatever, you should keep that mind engaged. Mm-hmm. Because when you do, you're going to become stronger. Your mind is nothing more than a muscle, right? If we don't use our leg and it's in a cast for several months, what do we get? Atrophy. If we don't use our mind for several months, what do we get? We get laziness. We get people that suddenly develop thoughts like, I can't do it. I can't do it, or you don't want to do it. Right?
That's true.
Marcus, this has been an amazing second birthday here. And before we do have to sign off with our wonderful credits, anything that you want to add to our many viewers? And of course, this will be replayed again. This is not our Friday show. There will be another show. This is our birthday show for all of you watching. There will be a separate show, not this long on Friday, but there will be a separate show. Anything else you want to add to our wonderful audience here today?
Hey, just thank them for supporting you, John, and just show and just to you, John, for continuing to bring great content, week after week, and in your due diligence and your consistency. John's an amazing person. Continue to support him and share this all over.
Thank you so much. And I am very blessed. There are a lot of co-hosts, and I am very blessed to have a great co-host, Marcus Hart. He's been supportive in the beginning. He's always supportive as he's growing the network and different things. And he's always there for me. And he always, lends a hand. And he likes to really get involved and loves to share out this great content. And for that, I am very blessed to be part of the Transform You Media Network, as well as JMOR's network and some other networks. I think it's great that we just have this great synergy, Marcus, because I know a lot of co-hosts and hosts, they're like oil and water. They don't mix.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It has been amazing. We have a lot to look forward to, but I want to let you know, buddy, we're working on doing more of these type of shows because I'd like to see this room filled. I'd like to see us be where we're going to be, and I'd like to see that by the end of this year, we can have our own studio and we can have our own place that people can come and have our guests fly in to see us. I was telling you before, if you want to get on our show, it's about a 3-month waiting list. But if you want to go live, well, we'll make some special arrangements to get you live a lot sooner than 3 months.
That's right. Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
Say goodbye, but before Marcus and I say goodbye, we want to thank you very, very much for helping the JMOR Connection celebrate JMOR shows, which is JMOR Tech Talk, which is us. We have JMOR Unboxing, JMOR Reviews. Our newest unboxing, which is coming on very soon, will be coming out this week, is our waffle iron, which we released. And we have a JMOR review where we actually make a waffle right in our office, and we're going to be making other things. In fact, if you follow the John C. Morley Serial Entrepreneur on Instagram, I made a milkshake, Marcus, this past Monday for Vanilla Milkshake Monday. I made a healthy peach cobbler, no sugar, the other day. Then I made a strawberry parfait for National Parfait Day.
Wow, that sounds good.
So we got lots of great content. If you have something that you would like us to see or you'd like us to shoot at your location, you can reach out to our team. You can also send an email to talkshowguests. That's TALKSHOW guests, GUESTS @JMOR.com. Our automated guest selection system should be done by the end of this summer because we know we're getting lots of guests. We have a backlog right now of 15 guests that I have to finish reading books for. Tristan, actually our next guest, Tristan Pillow is coming on. And I had a pre-call with him. He's got some amazing stuff to share with us about fintech. So again, remember, we're not a sales show. We're here to bring you value, bring you education. But if you're looking for technology, if you're looking for awareness, if you're looking to talk to local leaders, if you're looking for daily inspiration, if you want things that are just cutting edge, like what we did today right here in this studio, I think you should be watching our stuff. What do you think, Marcus?
That's right. They're going to be missing out if they don't catch us.
Well, again, I've got to say goodbye. And I know you got to say goodbye, Marcus. And we're going to roll it. But keep supporting us and keep loving us, all right? Take care, Marcus.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye. And to our credits we go.